Hi everyone, my name is Baldukian. I'm a practicing bankruptcy attorney here in California, and I wanted to make this video to talk about some of the benefits for filing for bankruptcy. If I was going to make a list of the benefits for bankruptcy, I'd probably say there are 5 main benefits for filing for bankruptcy protection. The number one reason, eliminating your debt. That's the main reason why anybody's going to file for bankruptcy. And we're talking about a Chapter 7 bankruptcy where you're asking for a discharge of all of your unsecured debt. Your unsecured debt is anything like credit cards, personal loans, medical bills, past due cell phone contracts or past due utility bills, monies that you owe to a family member or a friend. All of these debts can be discharged in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and that's the main reason that somebody might file for bankruptcy. There's no debt limit or floor or anything to qualify for a Chapter 7. No amount is too high. You can apply for any debt amount that you have. Sometimes your debt might be a little too low for it to be worth it for you to file. That's something that you want to definitely talk to an experienced bankruptcy attorney about. But a lot of the times, based off of how much you might pay an attorney to prepare the case for you, the extent of the debt, there may be alternatives in some situations, but there really is no qualification amount. Number two, I think one of the other benefits for filing for bankruptcy, it'll in fact improve your credit score. Now, that doesn't really make sense, right? You're going to file for a bankruptcy. The bankruptcy filing is going to be on your credit report for 10 years. Every time a credit report is pulled, it's going to show that there's a bankruptcy filing that was on there. But to be quite honest with you, you're probably going to benefit with that bankruptcy filing being on there rather than a lot of these unsecured debts sitting in your account being past due or having that revolving debt constantly in your credit report. So a lot of people that end up filing for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy are able to bounce back and their credit score see a significant jump within a year or 2 years after filing, because not only is their debt to income ratio a lot better, but now they're not sitting with a lot of this old debt that's sitting there, just making the minimum payments. And a lot of those cases, if you're just leaving the debt sitting there, you're paying more on interest than on the actual principal. So you're able to actually rebuild a lot better by wiping the slate clean. Your short-term credit might take a hit when you initially file, but your long-term credit is definitely going to see a benefit. A lot of times when people file for bankruptcy, they're really nervous about what's going to happen to their credit score and whether they'll be able to get credit cards again. I'll tell you right now, you're probably going to get credit card offers, solicitations in the mail within a month even after you file. You're not going to qualify for those accounts likely, but these credit card companies, these banks, they want your business. You're gonna find a bank out there that's gonna give you a credit card, an emergency card. You're gonna be able to refinance again. You'll be able to pull out a loan again. A lot of people are able to finance cars again within a couple years after filing. Some people are able to purchase homes a few years after filing. It's really gonna be up to you on what opportunities you take and how you take this new clean slate, so to speak, to rebuild your credit. The ball's essentially going to be in your court. Your credit report's probably still going to show a lot of those accounts that you filed a bankruptcy on. They'll still be reported on there with a zero balance with some sort of notation that'll say that the account was discharged in bankruptcy. You always want to make sure you pull a credit report at least 6 months after your discharge order was entered. A lot of these credit bureaus, these credit reporting agencies, they will update their information about every quarter. So you don't want to pull a credit report during your case. You don't want to pull it the day after your discharge is entered. You probably want to wait about 4 to 6 months before taking your credit report or pulling a credit report and taking that number seriously and seeing what accounts are still being reflected. I would say number 3 on the list of the benefits of filing for bankruptcy is the automatic stay. Now, when you file for bankruptcy, you're actually filing for what's called bankruptcy protection. That protection is what we call the automatic stay. The automatic stay is a court order that essentially tells your creditors that they can no longer contact you. They can no longer collect from you. They can no longer enforce any judgments they have or any bills that they have. The great part in this era is that everything's electronic. When you file for a bankruptcy, the automatic stay is applied then and there. When I file cases for some of my clients, I'm able to pull a notice of electronic filing with the bankruptcy court seal on it. There's an electronic signature from the judge that essentially says that John Doe filed for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy on this day, and that basically indicates that the automatic stay is in effect. It's basically a force field that protects you and your assets, including your checking accounts, your paycheck. They cannot go after anything. In order to do anything, they'd have to get permission from the court to do so. But a lot of the times, the automatic stay is put in place to protect you and protect your stuff so you can go through the 4 to 5 months in the case. Linked with number 3 with the automatic stay, the fourth benefit of filing for a bankruptcy protection is it stops wage garnishments. Part of that automatic stay is the force field that goes up. It prevents them from garnishing your wages. So if you have a creditor that sued you, let's say it was Portfolio Recovery, it was Bank of America, it was Citibank or American Express, one of the more aggressive creditors, once you default on your payments, if they obtain a judgment against you, they're going to want to enforce that judgment. Usually, most creditors know that you work, so they will obtain a court order and then a writ of execution from the court, and they will put together what's called an earnings withholding order, or EWO, and they'll garnish your wages. So all of a sudden, you'll get a letter from your payroll department saying that, hey, we got a notice from the sheriff's department. Looks like you were sued by American Express. They're going to take 25% of your paycheck. So part of the bankruptcy filing will actually stop that garnishment. In fact, if you're able to file your lawsuit before the garnishment even takes place, that judgment will get erased along with the garnishment through your bankruptcy. The discharge order will apply even to that order. So even if they've gone as far as garnishing your wages, bankruptcy filing will eliminate that underlying order that gives the creditor power to garnish your wages. One of the nice things too with a wage garnishment, let's say your wages have been garnished for a couple pay periods now. A lot of the times you are able to recover some of the funds that have been taken at least 90 days before filing. Now, you might not recover all the funds. The sheriff's department usually takes some sort of fee. The attorney's office might take some sort of storage fee. It's never the full amount, but it can be. It just depends on how long they've held on to the funds, how much the funds are, but there is a chance for recovery. All right, number 5, probably the best part of filing for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy or for bankruptcy protection, I would say it's a very quick process. When you file for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, from the date that you file your case to when the discharge is entered, it's about a 4 to 5 month process. You file your case, you have your hearing about 4 to 5 weeks after your filing date. After your hearing, if there isn't any hiccups, any red flags, if there isn't any additional documents that need to be submitted to the trustee, you're normally on cruise control, get your discharge entered in about 60 days after the hearing. So the whole process takes about 4 to 5 months. It's a lot shorter than the other bankruptcy alternatives. If you're in a Chapter 13, for example, your Chapter 13 payment plan can be anywhere from 3 to 5 years. There are people right now that are in 6 and 7 year plans because of the COVID pandemic. But in a Chapter 7, you're in and out in about 4 months. You're debt-free, you're getting that reset, you're getting that fresh start after that 5-month mark hits. Your creditors are notified of not only the filing, but they're notified of your discharge order. Everything usually is updated on your credit report to the credit bureaus and the credit agencies. And about 6 months, let's say, after your discharge is probably the best time to pull a credit report to see exactly what was erased and see exactly where you fall. And that's when you start rebuilding.